So once again, welcome everybody to this session where we will be looking for Lumiya, but more specifically for this first segment into sales processes. So the first thing I just want to show you guys before I get going is how I can ask my customers to send their purchase orders, really, into a special email address. Now, this is my special email address that I have for my Lumiya demo environment. And you set one up in your infrastructure so that when people are sending their POs to that email address, it will be consumed by Lumiya automatically. And just for you guys to see what this is all about, that's the attachment of that email. So it's got a PO number, reference to who they are, a date reference, and then, of course, the products that they like to buy. You'll notice something. They've supplied quantities, price, and description, but no item number. So it's going to be interesting to see how Lumiya will actually look into this and try to understand what the customer is looking for. All right. In Lumiya, you'll see I will log in a quick second, but I just want to warn you guys before, I will flip back and forth between two users. Simply because in my Lumiya demo environment, we have configured it so that when a sales order comes in, it needs to be approved. And I'm using the approve or this opportunity to show you how approval can be done. It'll be simple approval, a one level approval, but at least you'll see what the process is all about. And then you'll see the order making its way to SAP Business One directly eventually. So without any further ado, I'm going to log in as one of my user for Lumiya. And Lumiya shows up with, as Crystal mentioned in the intro, with some dashboards. And those dashboards are personalizable, of course, if the user was granted authorization to hit the configure button over here, where they can specify exactly what they would like to see on their dashboard. So right now I'm showing some stats about the transactions that are, currently open, pending, submission pending, or any other transactions. View them into a table format and see the transactions that have processed in the past in another graph here at the bottom. Basically have the ability to show information that pertains to what I do and that I care to look at. For today's demonstration, I'm going to focus on this pending task widget here on top, where as a user, those are the different tasks that I should be focusing on. And I will be focusing on this one here called sales order scans. Clicking on this, it will show me a number of transactions and two transactions that we will be looking as part of the demonstration today. The very first one is the one we were looking at before. That's my PO number 2026-0506. And at that point, why does it come to me, first of all? That's probably going to be the first question. Why isn't this going to Crystal or Steven Eroldi, for example? Well, you set up business rules in Lumiya, and you can therefore say when something comes from parameter technology, it goes to Eve. When it comes from another customer, it goes to Crystal. So you can segregate work that way. But right now, I've got these orders to look into. So all I've got to do really is double click on this and view it. See if everything is good. So if you remember, maybe it's a bit big in here. There you go. If you remember the purchase order we were looking at a second ago, Lumiya did receive the email. The AI tool parsed the document and was able to actually, put into the proper fields the information that are contained on my customer's purchase order. So for example, the reference, the amount, who the customer is, the dates, of course. And if I keep on scrolling down, you'll see the item descriptions, and right next to it, you'll see the equivalent item numbers that Lumiya was smart enough to identify. So now that order has really nothing wrong with it. As a matter of fact, if I keep on scrolling to the right, you will see in here, there you go, that's what I want to show you. The scan price and the ERP price, they match. They're exactly the same. And I'm highlighting this to you guys because sometimes customers may send you a PO like this and the price might be wrong. What happens then? What are you going to do? Are you going to stop the order from progressing? Are you going to allow a user to change the price like I am able to change the price over here? Or are you simply going to allow this to go, but that could be a reason for it to be approved? So there are different factors, and you can set up tolerances in there. So if the price is off by a certain percentage, you can let it go through. Otherwise, once again, someone will have to take some actions. This one is good to go, so I don't have much to do on it. I reviewed it. Everything is good. I'm just going to go ahead and submit this. What does submit mean? Submit means push it to the next step. Like I mentioned at the beginning, guys, it's gone from my to-do list, right? But the actual sales order is still in the system. As a matter of fact, if I go into the sales module over here, view all sales orders just for kicks, the one we're looking at here has a different status than the second one. See, I had two in here. The other one, status is set to submitted. It needs to be approved because really at the end of the day, once it's approved, it will be picked up automatically by the system and we will update the backend, SAP Business One. So now it's only submitted. So that means it's sitting on somebody's desk. If anybody looking into this sales order list and say, hey, who's actually, oh no, whose desk is this? You can actually use the scroll bar at the bottom to say, oh, look, this is who needs to approve it. So it's not showing you the entire cascade of approval, but it shows you who's the next one who's got this on his desk. All right, so that list, of course, by the way, guys, can actually be changed. You can actually move things around. Once it's actually moved around, you can actually save your layout, so you can actually personalize your screen. But, just for the purpose of the demonstration, come back here. Here we go. Purpose of the demonstration, I'm just going to focus on the fact that this one needs to be approved, which is exactly what I'll do now. I'm going to log out as my current user and log back in as the approver. Now the approver screen will be a little bit different, totally empty. And the pending task is to approve things. And among other things, he's got like one sales order in here to approve. Let's go take a look at it and let's see what the approver can and must do. The approver can actually be looking to a full page of orders and select them all in one crack. Have them all selected and decide to actually approve or reject them in mass. Alternatively, what the approver can do is double click on that line, look at the details, look at the attachment. Is this okay? I mean, is the variance okay? Well, there's a reason why it comes to me for approval. So I'm going to verify what I need to verify and decide to approve it or reject it directly from that one screen. If I decide to reject it, a little dialog box will open up so I can explain why I'm rejecting it. And guess who it's going to go back to? The originator for that specific transaction, which is my other user we're looking at. Well, we're not going to do this for the time being. We're going to approve it and say yes to this. Now that specific order now is set to approve, as you can tell over here. My user approver does not have much rights in my system right now. So allow me for a second to log back out, log back in as my other user called AP users, and show you something. If I look back at that sales order we were looking at before, that is set to approve. There's no sales order number next to it. As soon as this order is approved, you can let it be. And within like seconds or minutes, it will make its way to SAP Business One. Alternatively, you can do what you just saw me doing. You can select it and hit this button here, send to ERP. So you're instructing Lumiya to immediately take that sales order and copy it to SAP Business One. And from here, how do you know? How do you know it made its way to SAP Business One? Well, if you refresh that list over here, eventually that field will have a value in it. As soon as the update has been done, there you go. See, I have an order number, 1332. So that's the SAP Business One sales order number. Let me go to SAP right now and look into the very last sales order. That's the sales order we were looking at a second ago. So for anybody in SAP Business One, nobody needed to enter that sales order manually. Now, of course, my order had 3 items, but had there been 50 items, I think you can see the time saver. But you can still see the order from here on the attachments tab over here. The attachment, the purchase order as it came in by email is also viewable from here as well. And nobody actually did this attachment manually. It zoomed in automatically. So that should be a big time saver for orders coming through. Although my example had an approval process, you may elect to have no approval required if everything is good, if everything is it balances to the price in SAP Business One. You may say, oh, if the order is for over $10,000, then it needs to be approved. So there are different reasons for approvals and conditions, I should say, that you might want to establish. But right now you saw an example where pretty straightforward of one level approval. I do have another order to show you. So if I go back just for kicks on my home and focus back on the sales order scan, this second one down here, let's view something in here. And I just want to show you what possibilities are and giving you another example why it comes to me as a user and what can I do with this. Say, for example, that this order right now is for a value of X. So it's for $637.50. When I look at this and say, wait a second, this customer is very far from where I am, so I'm going to have to charge him freight. And I want to make sure that the freight amount is going to be on the sales order in SAP Business One. What can I do here? I can tell the system, well, first of all, the gross amount is not going to be 637.50. It will be 837. So I'm charging 200 bucks for freight. As soon as I do this, the system says you're not going to be able to submit this because right now there's a balance. You don't balance with what I have found on the total of all the lines and the amount that you have just manually overwritten. What can I do? I want to instruct the system that this is freight. So I can click on additional expenses over here, tell the system I need to add freight to this for a value of $200, taxable or not, depending on what you want to do. Add that additional expenses, and now my transaction balance. Now I'll be able to actually submit this. So really what I want to show you through those simple examples, a sales order that has no issues, zooms through SAP Business One with its corresponding attachment quite fast and easily. And if you need to actually alter the face value of a sales order because, for example, freight, shipping and handling, or whatever other additional charges you may have defined in your system, you can actually, via Lumiya, override the value and add this shipping freight or charge to a sales order.